For those of you who are not familiar with ClientSuccess, or you're just getting familiar with ClientSuccess, we are a customer success management platform and more. Historically, we have been a solo platform, really helping customers, what we said, manage from new to renew, so that entire post-initial sales life cycle. But we are so much more than that. Over the past several months, if you've been following our journey, we've had a series of acquisitions, including one of my personal favorites, Bott. If you're not familiar with Bott, it is an onboarding solution, but so much more. I do encourage you, if you are somebody who leads onboarding, whether it's in your customer success function, you're part of an implementation team, take a peek at it. You will not be disappointed. We have been moving folks over to our solution for the past several months now, and the feedback is fantastic. So if you're interested in learning more about Bott, you can go ahead and scan that QR code. It will bring you to some more information and get a demo scheduled. So if you are interested, I definitely recommend you go check it out. Now, one more thing, because I would be remiss if I did not talk about this, but if you are not familiar with our CS100 Summit, now this event is a community event, okay? This is not a client success customer event. So you do not need to be a client success customer to take advantage of this event. Now, it is called CS100. If you are not familiar, it is limited to 100. Okay, that is why it is called CS100. It is intended and designed intentionally to be a very interactive, immersive experience where you are building real relationships and learning amongst your peers. Now, the best way I can describe this, it's like customer success camp. If you have never been to the mountains at the Sundance Resort in Utah, I promise you these pictures do not even do it justice. It is fantastic. So now you take all the beauty that is the mountains in Utah and you couple that with some of the best and brightest minds in customer success, and you get an amazing experience. So if you're not doing anything, September 22nd, 23rd, 24th, that is also my birthday, the 23rd, come celebrate my birthday with me on the mountains in Utah with 100 of my closest customer success leadership friends, and let's have a fantastic time. So this is a little bit about it. Scan the QR code. It'll bring you to our website to check it out, learn more. I will tell you, we do cap it. So if you are a CS leader and you do intend to join us, just know as soon as tickets are sold out, they are sold out. There is not extra room. So this is going to be capped. We already have a bunch of people who have registered. Go check out the speaker lineup, go see who's there. And then obviously if you're intending to go, we are still out. I think yesterday may have ended early bird special, but I don't know if it's changed on the website. So you might actually have an opportunity to take advantage of one more day of the early bird special, but go ahead and get your tickets booked. Would love to have you all come.
With that, we'd like to welcome you to our Client Success webinar and welcome you to join us today in our standard Tuesday webinar series. My name is Dave Blake. I'm the founder and CEO of Client Success. I'm thrilled to host this webinar today. And I'm stoked to have my good friend Ryan Bott, who is the CEO of Ordr, join me. We're both here in Silicon Slopes. For those who are questioning, we are not brothers. We are brothers from another mother, maybe, but we look like brothers, maybe. But Ryan's much more handsome than me. Ryan, how you doing today?
I'm doing so well. Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here. And yeah, I'll give a plug for your summit. Every time I talk to people who've been, say that was one best time investments they've ever made. So can't wait to see you pull off another one this year.
Yeah, we're super excited about it. It should be another great event. But Ryan, you've had a great career in SaaS. I'm excited about to hearing from you today because you've had a very, very successful career as a sales leader, and most recently become the CEO of Ordr. And so you've got a lot of wisdom to share, and we're excited about it. Tell us a little bit about Ordr and about yourself.
Yeah, no, thank you. I mean, sometimes we all get imposter syndrome. I'm like, wait, are you talking about me? I mean, you think you look back on paper and you're like, yeah, it was successful, but gosh, there are moments where you're in it and you're like, holy cow, this is tough stuff, right? Yeah, no, there's been some really good success and some good fortune and good teams. I've been part of some amazing teams.
Yeah,
some amazing teams. So yeah, I mean, my background, it's been tech, it's been SaaS hardware, and we've had a couple acquisitions, had an IPO with a company called Fusion.io here in Silicon Slopes. I think sort of one of the OG Silicon Slopes, right as we were sort of transitioning from Utah Tech over to Slopes, and it was making its movement. Fusion.io had that IPO.
Very cool.
But spent 7 years at a company called Sodexo and was their SVP of revenue. So on the global sort of executive team. And it's a 500,000 person company out of Paris, France, right? Sodexo, the 17th largest company in the world you've never heard of.
Crazy.
And that was phenomenal. And that sort of led me to, I was asked to be on the advisory board of Ordr. And Ordr was this small company that had out of Edmonton, Canada. And they'd come up with a way to sort of order your food at a stadium as you were in the event, and then someone would go pick up the food for you and deliver it. And inherently there were some challenges with that model. So one is that the stadium, or meaning the operators, the team in the food operations, they don't want you touching the food. There's a liability there. So this company had been sort of going down that track. We said, well, wait a minute, what if we switched over to a whole different model? So I sat the team down in an overheated room in August of last year in Atlanta, and we sat down and wrote up a whole new business plan, moved the company, the North America, or excuse me, the US headquarters to here in Silicon Slopes. And we've been having a tremendous time. So the product is a payment platform, verticalized, specialized for sports entertainment. So we sell only to pro sports teams, big entertainment venues, and the whole thing is an innovative AI-driven payment platform to process and run their payments. But with that comes all the AI dashboarding, innovation, chat with your data that teams want. So it's really fun.
Very cool, very cool. And today the topic I'm excited about, because I don't know that the concept we're going to talk to today, that people tap into it is as much as they should. And you've been able to find significant success with selling through your customers, and creating a revenue machine through your customers. And so I'm excited to hear about this, because I think this is something that we could all do better in SaaS.
Well, I mean, yes, the premise here is we all know we have to grow business, but we're in this really odd spot, aren't we? And that is that the noise is so compounded. It continues to increase every single day. Chat, interesting, and GPT and any AI chat is unique in the sense that it's actually helping people cut through the noise. It's also taken away some of the critical thinking that people have had. And that's a concern. But you're going to get to a point, I see a point, where people are going to make buying decisions based off of chat, right? So they're going to say, well, hey, should I buy this? Does this product work better than the other product? That's going to start happening, right? We'll see that. And so, but the noise has been so prolific. And so you say, okay, well, how do you cut through the noise? And do you remember InsideSales.com,
Yeah,
Ken Rogues, the trust ladder? Do you remember that?
I do, but I'm sure it's new to the audience. So give us an overview of that.
Yeah, let's walk through this. In fact, I don't have a slide. I wish I could. Let me see if I can pull this up. Trust ladder. So the trust ladder was this concept of, well, when in sales, you're in this world of selling, who do you trust the most? And let me just see if I can pull this up. But so they went out and they did a bunch of studies, right? And the studies were to say, who do you trust the most? And in a buying process, who would you actually, rely on? And it turns out, here, let me see if I can actually throw this into a slide.
Yeah.
And I apologize. I didn't think I was going to use this slide, but now you asked about it. So
Hey, we're gonna go with
but it turns out we trust ourselves the very most. All right, so here we go. Let me share my screen.
While we're doing this, I'm going to tell the audience that we're actually going to take questions live. In addition to QA, we're going to do something different. So if throughout the webinar today, if you have a live question you want to ask, go ahead and raise your hand, and we'll open it up for live conversations. It should be a lot of fun.
Okay, so when I got a hold of this model, And this was based on science. This was studies that InsideSales.com had done. And InsideSales.com was a company, 15 years ago that was really making a lot of moves on the sort of on the sales development front, and then actually moved over to pure sales. But the whole idea was they built a series of products to help you sell faster, and mostly from an inside perspective. But this model was studied, and I want to say I don't remember, it was Princeton, I forget, so you'll have to forgive me on the reference. But the whole idea was science backed up this idea of when people are making decisions, we end up trusting certain advisors for us. It sort of turns out, you would expect, we trust ourselves the most, right? So I know best. I know what's right for me. I use what we call the gut feel, right? So do I have it? Do I feel it in my gut? I'm going with the decision. So imagine for everyone for a minute, imagine you're the buyer. You're buying a car, you're buying a house, you're buying a software tool, you're deciding if you're going to put your credit card in, and you sort of inherently trust yourself. This is a good decision. But it turns out that the next place you go to sort of validate your own decision is your family. So people in that immediate trusted circle, you ask them next, should I buy this car? Should I buy this house? What do you think? I remember buying, my first house, and I'm talking to my wife and like, hey, let's buy the house. And then it turned into, hey, I should get my dad involved, right? He's bought a couple houses. So dad, come on over, take a look at the house. And then she was like, well, let me get my mom to come over. So you sort of go down that path. It turns out you go to friends next, then you go to what are called industry experts. So now it's shifting to online, isn't it? Right. So now it's going out and saying, hey, who in the industry do I consider an expert? Right. So Dave, Blake, we're friends here. So I'm going to call Dave and say, Dave, what are you using, to accelerate your sales programs? And if Dave tells me, and I think Dave's an expert, it's going to score a lot of points. And then you go over to, industry peer. And then it turns out you go to oddly, celebrities. Like, is this celebrity using it? Do they have a Coach bag? I guess I'll buy a Coach bag. I say that because I was recently at a WNBA Sky game. Sky's a customer of ours. And if you look on their Instagram, there's a bunch of ladies in the front row, and they're all holding Coach bags, so they were Coach reps. And then right behind it, there's me. I'm doing, like, I think I have two hands up. I was in the second row cheering on the Sky, and I was in the Coach ad. But it turns out, that's a celebrity experience. Here's some celebrities, and they've all got their Coach bags, and then Instagram's pushing it. And you tend to look at that. You and I look at that like, I guess I buy a Coach bag. Common experience is really interesting because we trust people who've gone through a similar experience. This, right? You instantly sort of bond with people if they went through the same experience, especially if it was something hard. So the easiest way to think about this is go. For example, take 9/11, very, 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 very difficult thing. Those people are instantly bonded who sort of lost a loved one. In fact, they come together every year, and they don't even know each other, but they're instantly holding each other, crying. That's a bond that will be forged forever because they had a common experience. Well, common experiences can be very positive too. So, hey, you went to Dreamforce. I remember you spoke at stage on Dreamforce. I spoke at stage on Dreamforce. You're instantly connected. Yeah. So when you're trying to sell, this has been I've loved this model ever since I discovered it, 15 years ago. Is you want to be able to build on this sort of trust, and you want to put those things in place where they can trust to make a purchase. And so in a way, we're just trying to recreate this in the buying experience. This was a little bit impromptu, Dave. I don't even know if I answered your question, but
no, I love it. I love it. And so I mean, I think this is, if you were to kind of translate this to the topic of selling into our customers and making them the growth engine, where do you feel like is it on the growth ladder that we need to focus? Start there from the very beginning.
Well, let's shift over to this model. Got really interesting for me. Okay, so I'm in sports and entertainment. I sell to my team, right? In the company, we sell to pro sports leaders all around the world. And these are chief revenue officers, chief financial officers, business analytics teams, and ticketing people. So those are our four personas that we sell to. And I'll tell you, something amazing happened. My whole life I've sold tech, right? So it's been SaaS, and like, oh, let's build a true SaaS sales model. And I was in early on all the, sales development, and let's build SDRs, and now it's AI SDRs for sure. And so that whole thing's been shifted, but I was all in on that model. And that was basically a scale model, right? So it's an efficiency scale model. So we're gonna make the selling process more efficient. We're gonna take tasks that repeat often, and we're gonna repeat them faster. And that's all that movement really was at the heart. There's a fascinating model, which then is a complete shift, right? And the shift is, can you create an expert? Can you create a loyalist? Can you create someone on the inside that then does the selling for you? And this has hit me really hard in sports and entertainment. So let me just kind of walk you through what this means. So at Ordr, Vegas Knights is one of our clients. So this is NHL hockey now, Vegas being one of the top teams.
Yep.
And we're selling to Vegas because we want to process their payments. We want to be their payment platform. And so I'm selling to them. Well, inherent in this model that I didn't realize even existed was they're also selling to me. What are they selling? Right? They're selling a sponsorship. Yeah. They're selling something back to me. And that created a completely new paradigm, right? I'm selling to them and they're selling to me. And I have been thinking about this nonstop. How does this then apply to the rest of tech, right? To the rest of SaaS, to the rest of what we all do, because we don't all have inherently in our model that luxury. But the question I've had is, could you actually create that? Could you simulate that somehow? Yeah. And I realized there were sort of three things that happened in this model. One is it became official. So it's actually in the contract that we're both giving something to each other. So an example is, we write a contract that says we're the official payment platform of the Vegas Golden Knights. We're going to turn it on. We're going to process all the season tickets behind, Ticket or AXS in this case, and Ticketmaster and others. And so, we're the official payment processor. So we get that revenue. But then inherent, the next sort of, Schedule C and Schedule D is, okay, and Ordr then does the following things in a sponsorship, and we end up paying and we end up giving back, and it's all in the contract. So it becomes a truly mutual contract that we're actually working with each other, and that mutualization and it completely encourages success, right? So they want us to be successful because then they're successful, and the last thing is, it's totally legal. Right. So we get caught in what's called quid pro quo here in the US. We're like, well, we can't do that. I can't scratch your back if you scratch your back. This isn't that. This is actually co-selling to each other in a mutual contract that's encouraging success. And I've thought about this nonstop, Dave, is how do you recreate that in today's environment? And it's totally possible, right? So it might be something as simple as, hey, we're going to co-sponsor your summit. Yeah. So I'm going to sell to you. You need a little something back. I'm going to co-sponsor your summit. Most of the time what happens is you'll go back to marketing. Hey, they want to do a deal with us, but they would like us to co-sponsor. Marketing's like, I don't have a budget for that. So this is why it's called a shift in the model, right? Because we actually, as a company, we get the leaders to sort of buy in and say, okay, well, actually, let's set aside dollars that then go into our clients' marketing, or things like, hey, for example, we might want to put a resource inside their organization and help support the cost of that. We might support some of their research. We might support some of their product development, right? Maybe there's some product development they want to create. Right. But when you start to think this way, it is, now you have the one key thing that you've always needed, and that's an insider who literally is trying to get your business like you're trying to get theirs. And that's different. That's different It's a whole different model. I'm going to pause because I know you got comments and there's probably some questions.
No, I just just a question on there. Do you think that is it if you think about it and you apply it to the rest of SaaS, certainly you have a unique model, but if you apply it to the rest of SaaS, you know you're suggesting, is it always monetary, um, or is it other? Do you think that like if I'm at Salesforce or am I at some other company? What is some other examples of some mutual beneficial agreements that you can do up front? Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, sure. It might be, so apart from financial, it could be a time commitment.
Yeah,
It could be less financial, meaning I'm going to focus X amount of hours on development.
yeah,
It could be donating time to their charity, to a cause. It could be an agreement that says we're, for example, let's take I want to improve the environment. And that company's like Sodexo was really big on certain commitments to environmental impact.
yeah,
And I might, as a customer, say, I'm going to join that. They might have, so here's a good example. They had a certain amount of customers that they had to pass off that said they subscribed to the environmental impact, right? And you might put in the contract, we're willing to do that. We're going to jump in. We're going to make the changes. That's an important thing. So now you have an advocate on the inside saying, I want this business because of that. It's a fascinating concept to think about. Because again, you have instantly that insider, and you can sort of offer these things, and I'll walk through some of the results, some of the impact that it's made on us. But yeah, good question.
no, yeah. Let's keep going. I like it.
Well, what I think then the next topic really is to shift over to this idea of a loyal expert.
Mhm.
And so what we started doing is when we had the insiders and we had the people that were working with us and for us, and now we have a mutual agreement in place, not just a handshake, not just paper, but an actual mutual agreement that's legal. We started getting some really cool loyal experts, right? So, and this is fine. You all do this now. You get quotes and you get these experts. But what I saw happening was just stunned me. I did not realize we would go to this. So when we started, we said, all right, let's get a chief revenue officer. We'll have one person run rev ops. They'll do all the deal desk stuff. And then we'll have 4 sort of sales people, sales VPs, sales directors, you name it. Look at the model on the right.
Wow.
We've kept one chief revenue officer, and we have 1 rev ops person. And those on the bottom, those continue to go out on the right. I think we're like, 25 experts. So the experts have become our sales team. This is a complete shift from what I grew up on, which is just scale it and create an efficiency model, scale it like crazy, hire people that that can handle X amount of tasks, and when the tasks increase, hire the next one. This is very different. This is actually saving money. This is lowering costs. But more importantly, the conversion ratios are way up because experts on the inside of these deals are then talking to all of their peers in the industry. And so now you have, I never thought this would happen, but we've taken, so I'm just going to give you another mind blow here for a second. We took all of our marketing budget, and instead of putting it out and doing demand gen, we put it inside those contracts for those teams to do the demand gen for us. So now in our contracts, we're going to give them certain things. They're going to market for us. They're going to submit Dreamforce speaking submissions for us. They're going to get us in Forbes magazine, right? They're doing the demand gen and the awareness for us in those contracts because we're now giving something back to them that they wanted. So we literally have our sales and marketing budget went, and now it's back in with those teams. I never thought this was possible.
Yeah.
And it's actually worked.
Look, I was gonna say, let me jump in. I love this because, we we have a customer of ours who uses our product Baton, and I was on a call with him the other day, and he's used it in a couple different companies. So he's brought us in a couple different times. And we had a call the other day, and I said, is there anything I can do for you? And his feedback was, you know what you can do for me? Use me more. I'm a big advocate. I'm an expert in Baton and your product. The best thing and he was like begging me to use him more. And it's one of these things where I'm like, why aren't we using him more? Why aren't we developing relationships and experts like you're saying, and give them the microphone, and you know what I mean, and let them do, help us grow as a business. So I love this idea.
Well, and because it goes back, I'm just going to jump back. It goes back to this.
Yeah.
When people buy,
Yep.
they trust themselves, their family, their friends, industry expert, industry peer.
Yeah.
Those are those two categories. You've now created an expert. And by the way, the you on the bottom left refers to you as a salesperson, or even you as a client success person. You become an industry expert because you're good at client success, you know your product. But you as a salesperson, meaning if I go sell, they trust me the very least. Yeah. I'm walking in and they know inherently their spidey sense going off. This is a salesperson, because there's something behind the deal. They're trying to just get money out of me, right? They don't actually care about me. CS is here's what I love. Here's what I love, Dave. CS is in the perfect spot because they are what? They're number 4. Yeah. They're industry expert. Yeah. Who happens to be able to sell them. Yeah. And this is why. So think about this for a minute. I'll tell you this, and we sort of discovered this company, but it's called /experts. Uh-huh. I love what they're doing. So we're using them and we're just about to turn it on, but we're figured out how to take all of our experts from our clients, mm-hmm. and our CS team, and we actually put them on the website as hey, chat with an expert. And there's the whole thing can be monetized, which is cool. So like we can pay, our experts, and it'll disclose right there, hey, this person gets paid for their time to be a reference, or not. You don't have to. And so you can sort of take that off, like, hey, this person's gonna, they're agnostic, they're neutral, but they're a reference. And so you sort of have on your website this ability to chat with your experts, and your experts are your CS team and your clients all within one spot. And people are then asking, well, how does this work? Because remember, they're trying to all cut through the noise. Yeah. Right.
I love this. So I'll keep going.
Well, I'll sort of say this, and I'm going to show a couple of results, and let's start taking questions. But I believe fully it's time to shift. So we call this a leverage sales model. Mm-hmm. This LSM then is a way to get away from the efficiency, productivity, scale models that we've all just poured money into. And I would argue Chat GPT and even AI chat is exactly that. They're just trying to get you to work faster, to cover more ground. Those operational models are only as good as those sort of first third of the bottom of that ladder. It's like they're going to help with that bottom. But when it's time for people to make decisions, they got to go up to the top third, which is what? They're talking to the peers. They're talking to the experts. And that's the only way this is going to work. And so we call this a leverage sales model. It's time for everyone to sort of move, but I'll just show some results based on we had all of our clients, again, under contract, they had to start to post on LinkedIn. Like that was required in the contract, right? Because I was giving them something, they had to do something back. And so we've got our new followers are way up, our reactions are way up, our impressions are way up. And this, you can see the dates just in the last month. Revenue bookings against our goal. Like we're crushing, we're crushing our numbers.
That is incredible.
We're in currently Q2, but I wish I could show you the actual values, but it's high, and we're already at our annual goal halfway through the year. But again, this is 100% led from, from our clients and from those experts. So I'm going to come off camera. We can just start talking shop and ask questions.
Yeah, I've got a lot of questions. This is super interesting. So first of all, how do you there's a lot of people in an organization. How do you identify who the expert is? And I've never really, you've kind of changed the dynamic, because a lot of times we talk about an advocate or somebody like that, a reference or referral, but I like the concept of an expert. How do you go about finding who the expert is? I'm seeing some that might be a CEO. There might be somebody who just might be a power user. Any tips on identifying the experts in our customers' business?
Yeah, well, remember this first. Remember the first thing I talked about is there's an actual paradigm shift where we're rewriting the contract. So I want everyone here to be thinking, that is doable. How do you create contracts then that actually have someone sort of in that position, and it will be self-selected at that point. Apart from that, let's just assume, okay, well, maybe I can't do that right now. Well, how do you go find the experts, right? Your experts are number one, the people that like you, they interact with you, they're on your site. They're your top users. Number two is you want to look for the people that you want to proactively reach out to the people that have a voice. So you're going to notice that if I'm, someone on the audience, you're going to notice like there are people out there that have a loud voice at your customer site. You go online on LinkedIn, you see that they have a lot of followers. They post, they get 500 plus likes. That's a voice. You want to approach those people, right? You want to be able to create, hey, I don't know if you know, but you're a customer of ours, would love to spend 30 minutes. This is totally doable in the client success role. Now you're creating an advocate who then turns, because you remember, you're trying to go from advocate to expert. And the expertise is, hey, let me send you a couple, tips and tricks. Wait, tell me about your job. You're out selling every day. Well, let me give you, here's something you could use with our product. You probably didn't even know we had it. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't know. I didn't even know we were your customer. And so now you're converting someone over from an advocate to an expert, and they get to use the tools. So you want to bring them in as quickly as possible. And to the extent of, hey, we need to give this person a free license because we're going to work out a deal and they're going to make some posts about us. But you want the people with voices, because you got to remember every day every minute, every second that your voice is out online, you're winning, and you're winning the algorithm over. Imagine when we go to that day, and it's coming, where chat is going to say, here's what we recommend. It's going to say it based off of references online. So you want as many people talking about you online as possible.
Yeah. So it's not just finding anybody in the organization who is willing to talk. It's being very intentional about who their kind of voice, their kind of following, and their level of impact and trust.
That is a perfect way to say it. One word. Everyone remember Dave's word of the day: intentional.
Yeah.
Make a plan. You know what? Grab your notepad right now and just write down your top 5 clients, and then write down 3 names of people you don't have as experts yet, but you wish you did.
Yeah.
Right. And take the day to do that. Jump online and say, oh, so-and-so, Johnny works at this account. I didn't know. I wonder if we could get him using our product, and then even highlight or talk about it, because Johnny's on a lot of webinars.
That's cool. That's cool. Do you, outside of the contractual agreement, should we look to figure out how to reward them individually? Because sometimes what you can do in a contractual agreement rewards the company, but how much of this is rewarding and the motivation of the individual versus the need to do it because of a contractual agreement?
Yeah. It's such a great question. So I've seen a lot of companies try to motivate the individual rep, or the individual, the individual on the other side. Like, hey, I'm going to take care of you. There's one big problem. One, it can get illegal, right? So you got to be a little bit careful. Like, I'm going to scratch your back, you scratch mine. And so that's one. 2 is I've never found it to really hold teeth. People leave, people move on. We're all sort of in jobs now, 2-3 years. So there's that challenge. When a company has an obligation, it actually shifts it to the person, the company is accountable. So what I love about a contractual agreement between a company is it will stay no matter who changes jobs.
Yeah.
But I do think you can always build a relationship with a person, and you can always ask for their, help, and you can always ask for their expertise. And that's never a bad thing.
Yeah, that's great. We do have a question asking about negotiating for LinkedIn posts. How do you get those through legal and procurement? They're usually wet blankets for those types of asks. And I've seen that too. We in our agreements, we have the standard, hey, we can use you in marketing. And so often, you have customers who strike that out. Any tips or tricks on getting it through legal?
Well, keep in mind, we're not talking about that. We're not talking about, I need, I want to use your LinkedIn or your likeness or your logo in my
Yeah.
marketing. I'm
Yeah.
asking them to do marketing for me, right?
Yes.
That's a little bit different. I'm asking them in the agreement, in my SaaS agreement, I'm saying this company, let's just, I don't know, call it XYZ company, right?
Yeah.
XYZ company that's signing my agreement is now on the hook to make 3 LinkedIn posts a year about my company. That's different.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about. And that, again, why would they do that? Because I'm giving them something back, right? I might
Yes.
be paying for their marketing summit. I might be helping sponsor. I might be helping, work on their charity. I might donate some time to their development. I might build an integration with them.
Yeah.
So we're now to a point where I can ask for certain things. And what does that do? It allows me to reduce my marketing expense, because I have now a top company making posts on my behalf. It's crazy. I never thought I would see this, and yet I'm living it. And I really want it to apply to SaaS, and I think it's totally doable. So
That's great. How if I'm a frontline CSM and I'm looking for new experts, right? I've kind of maybe we've got some that we've leveraged, but now I'm looking for new. What am I looking for? What's some signals that I can find that tell me this person might be a great expert to tap into? I know you said remember you said like, hey, look at their influence, look at their. Is there any other signals that you'd recommend?
Well, yeah. So I love Sales Navigator, and I love it just because I can create lists, and lists are
Yeah.
helpful because it
Yeah.
organizes who's who. So create a list and
Yeah.
call it experts and call it the name of the company. So again, let's say you sold the contract to XYZ, and so you create an XYZ expert list, and you're going to go in and flag the people who are talking the most online, have the biggest influence on LinkedIn right now. And you're just going to tag them. Right. So
Yeah.
so first off, just start there. Create a list based on their influence. What are they actually doing online? How many followers? Do they talk a lot? That's money.
Yeah.
It's money in your pocket, because those are people. Remember, the searches now, and both in chat and on Google, and the algorithm are based on what's been said about you online.
Yep.
So that's one of the premier features of the search algo, right? The algorithm. You got to get the people who are talking. So you say, okay, I'm going to identify them. I'm going to come up with a game plan. How do I get them to become an expert? So I just want to say, what are they talking about online? Right? I want to look at their background, and you'll immediately come to a conclusion. This person has some things that my product can offer, and I bet they don't even know they're our customer.
Yeah. How much do you think, or how do you track this? So the goal here is to drive new revenue, right? So the ultimate goal, you want your customers talking to as much as possible, so you're driving new revenue. Do you think that once you identify the new lead from a current customer, and sometimes I think Jason Lemkin calls that second order revenue. Second order revenue is kind of revenue that comes from your customers. Who should own that? I mean, would you pass that back to the CS team, help identify those, and you pass it back to the sales team? How do you recommend collaborating with sales once you've identified that new lead?
Yeah.
Or do you bring in do you include the customer?
Yeah. The age-old question: who should
Yeah.
sell? Who should take on upsell? Right. So let me just see if I got this right. Let me just play out a scenario. Sales say we want to own it because the client success team, doesn't know how to sell. Right. That's just sorry if I'm offending anyone, but that's what they paraphrase. And CS says, well, sales should own it because I don't want to create an awkward relationship with my client pushing a sell when I'm here to support them.
Yeah.
It's just the age-old conflict, right?
Yeah.
See if I got it right. Anyone raise their hand if I got it right? So you have this. So inherent in that is, well, wait a minute. What would happen if we sort of lifted both, right? What if we said, okay, sales, you get involved to the point where you're coaching CS, What if you got involved only on certain size of deals or size of upsell, and we'll take the rest. I've always felt, again, remember why you would want CS to do this. Okay, let's just nail this for a minute. The reason you want CS to handle upsell is because they have more expertise.
Yeah.
And people, remember the trust there, people trust experts.
Yeah.
They trust them way more than they trust salespeople. So if you don't go to that model, you are leaving money on the table, because we've all seen, Dave, you know this, we've all seen CS has a good relationship, products being adopted, it's being utilized, and here comes CRO. I've got an upsell number. And then the chief client success officer is like, well, and they've co-signed on that number. And all of a sudden you're like, we need you to sell. And the client success person starts to push it. And then they bring in sales. Sales hasn't been around for 6 months. And they come in and they're like, well, I need you to, and here's a new contract. And the customer's like, who are you?
Exactly.
And the whole thing just starts to fall apart. Right? We've all seen this. And so I've always felt, up your client success team's skill set in sales.
Yeah.
And I think it comes down to 3 things, Dave.
Okay.
Listen to a sales call once a week, so they know how sales is selling. They practice a sales call once a week. And then they have now any chat, any AI will analyze that call and give you feedback. You don't even need a tool anymore, right?
Yeah.
You go on, you record a Zoom yourself, or get a friend, get a peer, and you practice selling. And selling, by the way, is listening. So you're just asking questions. And the best questions you can ask are how-to questions, or just how in general. How does that impact? If you made that change, how would that impact your team? If you shifted to that new product, how would that benefit?
Yeah.
How would it help marketing? You just ask how questions and just practice. It's actually not that hard to sell when you're the expert.
Yeah. I've often said, like, I know that there's a lot of CS teams and CS leaders who say, hey, we don't want to own expansion or, cross sell or upsell or any of those, because it takes away our trusted advisor status.
Yeah.
And like you said, I think that's actually why you should sell, is because you are the trusted advisor. You're the best solution specialist, a solution sales team out there, because you know your customer, you've got to trust with them. They know and trust that you're not just trying to sell the sell, that you're trying to sell because you understand their business and you're trying to help them achieve their objectives. And so my feeling is embrace it and run with it, and just develop the skills to do it better.
You nailed it. Okay. At SaaStr, okay,
Yeah.
at SaaStr, there was a great presentation. I remember he was the CEO of a Snowflake, one of Snowflake's top integrators.
Yeah.
And gave this wonderful talk about how the days of a salesperson not being technically, knowledgeable or adept are over.
Yeah.
Every salesperson has to be an expert. Well, so now advanced. We still have a gap because they're not. A lot of salespeople aren't. So who are the CS teams? What happens in the buying process today is they want to know, do you know your stuff? And they want to feel it. And if you can come up with a solution to solve a problem, they will buy. So maybe that's tip number 2 here, is how do you get CS if you're going to choose to do this? And Dave and I say yes. CS should be upselling. If you're going to do it, figure out how to package a solution to a problem. So as you hear their problem, you come back, you go home at night and you're like, ooh, I'm going to just, and if they did this, I'm going to put it together in a little package in one slide. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking of your problem. Today you're here, and actually we could get you here. And you're not selling in that case. You're just advising. And they're like, oh, wait, can you send me a proposal on that? You just solved my problem. That's selling. Then let sales go do the proposal, by the way.
Yes,
you don't want to get caught in that work.
Exactly.
You just maintain your expertise by offering a solution to a problem. But you got to show them. You can't just talk about it. You got to visually show them before and after.
Yeah. What do you think of the top skills? Like, if I'm a CSM, I'm trying to develop skills to be confident in these discussions. Are there 2 or 3 skills that you recommend that they really focus
Yeah.
on? And by the way, I love your idea of just recording and drop it into ChatGPT and let them
Yeah.
let it coach you. I think that's a brilliant idea. You don't need full solutions now. It can do it for you. But any others like skills that you recommend
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
CS team should continue to develop from your experience with sales over the years?
I'm going to give two.
Okay.
Okay. So everyone listening, write this down. These are, I'm going to tell you, these are your game changers. You do this, you're going to get promoted. Number one, you know how to solve problems.
Yeah.
Solving problems means you're listening, you're rationalizing, and then you're giving an outcome. They have to envision an outcome. They have to envision the promised land, right? So you know how to solve problems. Number two, you can explain complex situations easily. And the way you do that is analogies.
Yeah.
Okay. So you take an analogy and you say, look, it's like a cell phone bill, right? When you sign for a cell phone bill, it costs you $70.99. But what's your bill at the end of the month? Oh, it's $99.99. Why? Because there's a bunch of additional fees. That's how this works, right? So I just made that up on the fly, but that's an analogy to explain a very tough concept of, well, what are all these extra service fees I have? It's like a cell phone bill, right? You've got to get really good at analogies. You've got to get really good at explaining complex things because you live in a complex world. You're the expert. There's a million integrations. There's APIs. There's technical documentation. Does it do this with the data architecture? I don't know. And you got to be able to take all that and distill it down into a very simple analogy. It's like this. You do that, and people just absolutely love you.
That's awesome. Awesome. Well, good. This has been a great conversation, Ryan. If you were to wrap up, like two or three takeaways that every person should take from this. I love your concepts of experts. I love the idea of, I guess I'm going to give you mine first. I love the idea of experts. I love the idea of like being intentional from day one of trying to identify those, lock those in. Any others that you'd recommend that you would say is key takeaways from the conversation today?
Well, the big one is think of a leveraged sales model. It's
Yeah.
different. It's different. What would
Yeah.
that look like? Could you write that up and go talk to, your management? Could you get some traction around creating a leveraged sales model where the company needs you, your buyer needs you as much as you need them. So it becomes bi-directional. And now instantly inherent in the models, you have an expert or a loyalist on the other side who's trying to help you, who wants you to be successful. What would that look like in a contract? That requires some thinking, that requires some doing. So I think number one is my validation is it's absolutely working, no question. And leverage sales models should be if I hope your takeaway is consider it,
Yeah.
write it down, think of how you could position that at your company and get going on it, because it will change the face your company, and that allows you to then look at a promotion and, hey, so and so, she helped solve this problem for us. She created a leverage sales model that works. So I think that's one big one. You nailed being intentional. I would say this, maybe one last tip is people work with people they like.
Yeah.
Client success, you have to have good relationships. We're not all business as humans, even though 90% of your day is, but you want to be, people will do business with you years from now if they like you.
Yeah.
And so you want to
true.
you want to create long lasting relationships, not just transactional relationships.
Yep. No, I love it. I love it. All right, folks. Great best practices and suggestions. I love the leverage sales model here. Do it like right now. Think about it right now. Most SaaS companies are having more difficulty selling at the moment. Your leaders, your CEO is looking for other ways to drive revenue. And Ryan gave you some awesome tips to do that. Innovative, very innovative, but powerful and impactful ways. So take that back to your company. Be intentional. develop those experts, find those experts, and leverage those experts to drive revenue. So, Ryan, how can if somebody wants to follow up with you, where can they find you?
Sure. LinkedIn's the easiest. Like all of us, we're busy, but I will look at it and I will reply and I'll connect. And so there's that. Any others, I speak or I'm at conferences all the time, so look out for that. Just let's connect with me and say, hey, I'm going to be at Dreamforce or this or that. Happy to. If anyone wants me to connect with you or your company, happy to as well. And
very cool.
Look, I try and make myself as available as possible because I like relationships. I think relationships at the end of the day are all we got. We carry our relationships forward with people.
That's right.
So I like making new relationships.
Well, I appreciate the relationship we have, Ryan. I appreciate you joining us today to share your insights with our audience. And I want to just thank everybody from joining us. Ryan said it well. Our company, the model that we have, or our slogan is building relationships that last. So thank you for coming here each week to join us with the team at ClientSuccess for these webinars. We hope you have a good week and join us next week, same time, same place, for another amazing webinar. Have a great week, everybody. Thanks for joining us.
Bye. Thank you.
Cheers. Bye.